Jesus, would you meet us in this place today? Amen. So we've just heard two texts that belong together, the one that Brent read us from the Old Testament and our gospel reading today. In the Old Testament reading, Moses is speaking to the people on the edge of the promised land, and he gives them an almost impossible, demanding economic commandment. Every 7 years, cancel the debts, release the claims, open your hand, he says. And then, as if he's anticipating every excuse, he adds a warning. Be careful that you do not entertain a mean thought. Be careful that as the year of remission draws near, you do not look at your needy neighbor and quietly close your fist. The Hebrew word that Moses uses for that mean thought is literally a worthless, wicked thought. The thought that says, this person's need is not my responsibility. They should have worked harder. They had their chance. And then Jesus tells a parable that lives inside this exact same tension. A landowner goes out at dawn, hires workers for his vineyard. You know the story. He goes out again at 9 and noon and 3 and at 5 in the afternoon, 1 hour before quitting time, and he finds more people still standing in the marketplace. Why have you been standing idle all day? He asks. They answer, because no one has hired us. They were not idle by choice. They were waiting to be seen. So the denarius of this wage was not a comfortable wage. It was a survival wage. It bought food just for the day. These workers standing at 5 o'clock were not lazy. They were 1 day away from hunger. And when the landowner pays everyone the same, a full day's wage, beginning with the last, the workers who bore the heat of the whole day are furious. You have made them equal to us. The landowner's answer is, are you envious because I am generous? In the Greek, it's even more quiet and devastating. Is your eye evil because I am good? It's a literal translation. The evil eye, the eye that is formed by scarcity and merit, the eye that looks at someone else receiving abundance and experiences it as injustice. Moses calls it a mean thought. Jesus calls it an evil eye. It's the same thing. The heart that has been so formed by the logic of empire, you earn what you get, you deserve what you have, that it can no longer recognize generosity as a gift. It's been so deceived by the illusion of meritocracy and the idolatry of grind culture that it can no longer see God. So here's what this Eastertide sermon series has been asking us to see. The resurrection is not spiritual escape hatch from a fallen world. It's not God finally giving up on creation and evacuating the worthy ones out. Paul writes in Romans 8 that the whole creation is groaning towards something, straining forward into a restoration that the resurrection has already begun. God doesn't want to rescue us from this life. He wants to journey with us in it, healing our eyes until we can see what has been here all along. And so doing, to invite us into his kingdom economy, that is mutual abundance, mutual flourishing, radical reciprocity, healing our hands as he teaches us to open them to our neighbors. The land belongs to God. Every vineyard, every marketplace, every garden plot, every person standing in those places, all belong to God. We are, as Leviticus says, aliens and tenants. We are stewards of a gift we did not make. And the promise of Jubilee, the promise Moses sets before the people, and that Jesus embodies through his very life, is this: there will be no one in need among you. Not because need has been eliminated, but because the people of God have learned to open their hands. So take a look at this table up front. Those 15 white buckets have been here since before the service began. There are 15 gardeners at Anchor Point, an affordable housing community of 80 families here in Beverly, who have been assigned their own raised garden plot for the very first time. They are already named, these gardeners. They're already seen. Before this homily began, before a word was spoken, their place in the story was prepared. Each of these buckets is designed to travel. It will carry their tools to and from their apartment to the garden, and in the garden it will be a watering vessel to carry water from the spigot to their plants. Inside each bucket is a full season's worth of welcome to the garden. You can see on the front there's 2 seed packets in each bucket. These are companion flowers, alyssum, marigolds, nasturtium. When these are planted alongside vegetables, they draw in good pollinators and gently deter harmful ones. They don't just survive together, these plants and the vegetables. They help each other thrive. That's not just a metaphor I'm making up. That's how God designed his good creation to work, and how it does work when it's not degraded. It works in reciprocity, in mutual flourishing, in what the old Celtic Christians called the beloved community of all creatures. In the bucket, there's a trowel with depth markings on the blade, so that these new gardeners kneeling in their gardens for the first time know exactly how deep to plant their tender seedlings that we will be providing at the end of May when the planting window is open. There are work gloves. There is a bag of worm castings, which are living compost to feed their tender plants. The castings are in brown paper that can be buried as compost or laid as mulch. And there are flower puppets, you can see, waiting to be colored with markers in the bucket to color them, because the garden is nourishment of food and of play and delight. It's for the kind of joy that belongs to everyone, regardless of age, and that no one has to earn. Inside of each bucket is a little round scroll that's also a letter. It's a welcome to the garden from this congregation, signed on your behalf, explaining the bucket contents and inviting the gardener by name to our gatherings on the 2nd and 4th Mondays of every month from May through September, except Memorial Day, from 5 to 6 p.m. The bucket itself, this is your open hand extended to your neighbor you may have never met. So years ago now, a small team from Trinity began showing up at Anchor Point with no program and no agenda except to be present, to learn names, to ask questions, to keep coming back. They started with movie nights, and then it became an invitation to steward last year's welcome baskets. Trust takes time. It can't be rushed or optimized or scaled. And what has grown from these years of simply showing up is this gardening invitation now, a commons where there are no haves and have-nots, only co-laborers. We bring these seeds and compost and tools. Our neighbors bring knowledge, stories, presence, wisdom we do not have. We are not the landowner in the parable. We are fellow workers hired at different hours, all receiving the same welcome. So this garden at Anchor Point is our attempt to live Deuteronomy 15 with dirt under its fingernails. It's what happens when a congregation decides to open its hand and press into the holy imagination that connecting to God, community, and creation is one integrated invitation, not a fragmented to-do list. And you made it possible. Everything in those buckets, everything in the baskets that are about to be passed around that I'll tell you about in a second, was purchased with your generous giving. What we do together in the next few minutes we'll be assembling some things together, is the fruit of that. And while not everyone at Anchor Point will be gardening, there are 80 residences, apartments, but 15 gardeners. Everyone at Anchor Point is welcome to be together in the garden space. 2/3 of the raised beds in that garden will be tended by these 15 gardeners. 1/3 of the raised beds in the garden will be tended by Trinity in partnership with Anchor Point. These will be commons beds, a gift economy, growing herbs and vegetables and cut flowers for anyone to harvest, along with a pollinator garden to enact environmental restoration. So the invitation to show up at the garden at Anchor Point on the 2nd and 4th Mondays is an invitation to every person here and everyone at Anchor Point to show up for a cold drink and some fun music with our neighbors, to learn each other's stories outdoors in the beauty of creation. No gardening experience necessary. You might not even be gardening. You'll be in the garden, but a quarter of that garden space has no raised beds. It's just open space with picnic tables and rocking chairs for sitting and talking, listening to music, drinking a cold drink with your neighbor. There's gravel to dig in, and there's push toys for the children. It's fenced and it's safe. So, to communicate that welcome, come outside and play with us in the garden. To everyone, in addition to these buckets that are going to the gardeners, we'll be gifting invitation kits to all the households at Anchor Point. These 4 baskets that our people are patiently holding, that one, okay, are going to come around. And we are going to take out the elements, and we're going to assemble these invitation kits together. So with that, I will close with these brief thoughts. We're sending these in with the offering later because they are not separate from our worship. They are our worship. This is what our hands do when our eyes have learned to see. And this is a way that we demonstrate those open hands that we're invited into. At Anchor Point, there are 80 doors, 80 households. Behind each door, there are beloved ones that God breathed into existence on purpose, with delight, as a gift to the world. We are invited to know them. And so we are bringing them an invitation with these packets. Come out. The garden is yours too. You're wanted here to belong and to be known. That invitation is for every person in every household at Anchor Point. It's for every person in every household at Trinity North Shore, for us all to experience together. So the resurrection is Jubilee fulfilled. There will be no one in need among you is Jubilee economy. As we assembled these kits, we opened our hands together. May the landowner who gifted us, each other, and the other than human creation be delighted in the work of our hands, and may he receive all the glory. Amen.